Greetings, Dr. Bobby Price, your plant-based pharmacist and nutritionist, also author of Education Over Medication. And today I'm going to be debunking some of the myths around protein and going plant-based. So this video is sort of dedicated to a lot of the athletes and very active people who have been kind of asking me a lot of questions about transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle and the protein requirements for an active lifestyle. So first and foremost, let me just be very transparent and let you know that when I first made the transition to a plant-based lifestyle, I had the same concerns. I was an athlete in high school, I was an athlete in college. And so, taking away meat for me meant taking away strength like it does for a lot of people. But I think I'm gonna blow your brain with this next statement. We don't actually make protein from protein. And what I mean by that is this. For the most part in Western society, we consume cows, pigs, and chickens, right? And so we consume them and we say that their animal flesh will then become our animal flesh, and that's how we build up muscle, right? But that's actually not true. Actually, how we make proteins in our bodies, we actually make proteins from amino acids. That's the most efficient way, okay? And so when you're consuming animal products, you're taking proteins, which the body then has to metabolize or break down into its individual amino acids. So essentially, a protein is the house, and then the amino acids are actually the individual bricks of that house, okay? And so how we make proteins in our body is we take those individual bricks or amino acids and we build human protein. So the idea that we're gonna take animal protein from a cow, pig, or chicken, or lamb, or whatever, and make human protein, it just doesn't really match up. And when you really think about it from a common sense standpoint, cow, pigs, and chickens, lambs, they don't eat meat. And so where did they get their protein from? They all eat plants. It comes from plants because plants have amino acids in them. And so that's the really important point to understand here is that there's two types of proteins. You can get a very efficient and very high quality source of amino acids or proteins in this case, or you can get a very inefficient and very toxic form. And meat is a very toxic form and a very inefficient form in terms of us having to break that protein down into individual amino acids, which we don't have to do with plants. And also it is toxic in its way that the meat that you eat also comes with the fact that that meat is no longer alive, and carnivores, when they eat meat, the meat is still alive. So it still has, living forces in it. The other thing is that when you're consuming meat, you're also consuming the acidity in the meat because meat becomes acidic once you cook it, once it dies. Meat also consumes, things like, I guess you could say like soy. So cow doesn't eat soy. And because it doesn't eat soy, it's not its natural food. And in addition to that, that soy is actually genetically modified and heavily sprayed with herbicides and pesticides. You see what I'm saying? So now you have to consume the food that animal ate as well. In addition to that, the cow, pig, or chicken is given antibiotics, hormones, and a litany of other things that once you eat it, it becomes part of you. So that's why eating animal-based protein is actually more toxic and less efficient in terms of us making protein from that source. And so our bodies actually make 12 amino acids, and we need 21. The other 9 we have to get from food-based sources. And so you can get all of those 9 from plant-based sources, okay? And some of the best sources are going to be hemp and chia seed because they're actually complete proteins. Complete meaning they have all the amino acids that you need, okay? The one caveat I will say for athletes and people who are very active is this, and I learned this actually for myself, is that if you're an athlete or you're very active, you do need more protein than the average person. And so that's something I've been very cognizant of when I work out and when I work with clients in terms of developing their meal plans and developing a diet that works for them. Because for a lot of people, what happens is you go plant-based and you don't get enough protein in your diet in the form of amino acids, of course, and you feel sluggish and tired. And so you do need to consume more protein. But here are a couple of examples of protein that you have in addition to the hemp seed and chia seed that I mentioned. You can also consume lentils. You can also consume quinoa. You can also consume chickpeas. These are very high sources of proteins. In addition, you're going to get amino acids, or proteins for that matter, from fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and the like. So worry not in transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle about protein or being deficient in protein. I can tell you, of all the years that I've worked in the hospital as a clinician, I've never in Western society seen anybody who was actually protein deficient. That goes for vegans, vegetarians, meat eaters alike. I've never seen it. So that is nothing to be concerned about. Now, if you're concerned about your cosmetics or how you look physically, then you will need additional protein, especially if you're very active. But again, that's no problem because you have many sources of amino acids and proteins from plants. So hope this video was helpful. If you do need more guidance on what to eat or how to transition to a plant-based lifestyle, you can go to my website, www.drbobbyprice.com, and scroll down and you'll see my free plant-based starter kit where you can get started on your plant-based journey. Peace and blessings, and remember to subscribe and turn on your notification button.